the table, drinks in the air. Welcome to the podcast with the perfect pair. From the fell to the bar, we're keeping it live. Crisp poker, good times, and a whiskey on ice. Grab a drink, call a raise, and let's shuffle up and deal. This is Cards and Cocktails.
Welcome, everyone, to Cards and Cocktails with Slick Rick and Skull Mike and Skull. We've got a very special guest tonight, one of our good friends, all the way from Leeds, England.
Where exactly is Leeds?
Somewhere over there, somewhere above London.
It's
I think northern England. But, well, his real name is Alex, but I gave you the name British Bulldog.
You did.
I did. And this I know.
For real?
Yes.
I think it was Rick.
It was me.
I'll let you have
it was
this
me.
one. I'll let you have this one.
Alex, you're a good friend of ours, but before we get into the questions, have to ask you about Bulldog because I know your family calls you Bulldog, your friends call you Bulldog. You've kind of embraced it. What are your thoughts on the overall nickname?
It's kind of hilarious, really, because when you first said it, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go with a nickname. Like, it feels kind of cliche. And then I rolled with it, and everybody absolutely loves it. I go to LA to play, I go to Vegas to play. And
you realize you wouldn't
just
be
call
in
me
those games if you didn't have a name Bulldog.
Exactly. So really, Rick owes me a lot of money because all the money I've been losing in Vegas and LA is all down to the nickname. No, it's really helped, actually. You know, it's kind of boring to roll with just Alex every time, and ever since you've coined me Bulldog, it's really stuck.
I think it fits, and the reason why I called you that is because we'll get into that in a minute, but let me tell you about the show.
Okay.
We're going to be going for about 20 to 25 minutes. We're going to ask you some questions right off the bat that we want you to answer briefly. Okay. Then we'll get into it more in depth, and at the end of the show, we'll do a little Jeopardy. And you're going to earn points. I think right now, Juan is the leader in the clubhouse.
Are we keeping track of the scoreboard, or we just?
I am.
I don't think you are. How many points does she have?
20, I think.
We can be
sure.
I'll go back and check.
Okay, go back.
But so we're going to. Is it all right to go ahead and ask you some questions?
Absolutely fine.
All right. So you grew up in Leeds, England. What was your family life growing up?
So I actually grew up in Doncaster.
Is that close to Leeds?
Yeah, it's like 40 minutes from Leeds.
Right.
So Leeds is my home now when I go back to the UK. Drive 40 minutes to Doncaster to see my family a couple of times. Every now and again.
Okay.
But it's been about 10 months, to be honest.
He'll be home soon, Mom.
Yeah, 1 week away. But yeah, I usually just go back for the summers. But when I grew up, Doncaster's like a small working class town. So grew up there. You know,
so had a family middle class or what?
Yeah, probably working class.
Yeah,
probably working class. I had a regular upbringing. Got myself a job when I was like 13.
What was that?
Just doing like the mail run. I was dropping off the local council magazine. Actually got fired for
sleeping in.
I was supposed to drop 500 off. I dropped off about 300, threw the rest in the trash.
You didn't take 200 to a poker game?
I did not.
Oh,
that's funny.
The poker started at 16.
16?
Yeah, my dad used to take me to the local pub poker game. It was a £20 buy-in tournament, freeze out. He took half my action because, you know, I didn't want a shot take too hard. So I played that every Tuesday in the local pub.
How many times you win?
A couple of times, but, you know, not as many as I should have done given the...
Did they report that to the Hendon mob?
Unfortunately, it's not on my hand anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got involved in poker at 16. When did you realize? When was the point that you said, you know what, I'm pretty good?
I don't know if I've reached that yet. No. So when I was at uni, I was playing a little bit more seriously. So I was at York University, and the nearest casino was in Leeds, which is like a 20-minute train ride away. And I used to get the train over at 8 p.m. 3 or 4 nights a week, and I would get the train back at 6 a.m. So the first train back. And so I'd play all night, missed all my lectures because of it. So, you know, when it came to the end of uni, I was like, okay, well, I'm flunking uni, so I kind of have to go with the poker now. But yeah, I was playing...
What did you start? What you start at the low stakes, obviously?
Yeah, so the only game that ran there was 50-cent, £1 cash games.
Wow.
So I was playing mostly cash games. Then in my second year at university, I took a shot at some tournaments, and I actually had a bit of a heater. So I won the local tournament, which was like a £200 one. I won that for like £10,000 or something. And
that was all the money in the world when you were in college.
That was a good score. So then the very next week, I played a £1,000 tournament, which was the UK Poker Championship. and I actually won that as
Oh
well.
my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that one was more significant. That one I got £125,000.
And how old were you?
So I was 19, and I also won, included in that, I also won a Vegas package, which I was too young to actually use.
Right.
So I got like a Vegas package worth like $15,000. It was like a seat to the main event, a hotel.
Who took that? They give that away, raffle it off to somebody else?
Yeah, they gave me like some small cash. The package was worth $15,000. I think they gave me like £3,000 or something.
And how was the tanking in those tournaments? Those
You know
Euro
what?
tanks?
I don't think it was as bad as it is these days.
Wow.
I think somewhere along the line it's got a little bit more fashionable for players to look like super pros and tank too much. I think, back, I'm talking like 10, 11 years ago, I don't think it was quite as bad.
That's mainly why you don't play tournaments now, right? Or
I can't play them.
patience?
I really can't play them, yeah. Like, I sit there, if I'm playing a tournament, I just want to have some fun. I want to have a shot at winning some big money, and I sit there and, like, it's the first day and people are, like, taking 30 seconds to act before the flop, and I don't know, the whole thing frustrates me, so I'm not sure I have the patience to battle out a 3-4 day tournament anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. Your Instagram, I follow you on Instagram. You follow me at Slick Rick Lodge. And what's your Instagram handle?
It's alexspencer.93.
It's like the Travel Channel. You're in a different country every week.
Yeah.
Where do you decide where you're going to go?
I don't really, to be honest. So it just depends on my mood. Like, I don't really know a month in advance where I'm going to be.
It's so crazy.
I've met a lot of friends over the years traveling in different places. So
You've been to Argentina a bunch lately,
yes,
right? Going back.
Argentina I like a lot.
Yeah. What's her name down there?
El Bulldog.
No, what's her name?
El Bulldog.
What's her name?
Oh, that I can't comment on.
Oh, that's a secret?
That's not podcast, right?
Oh, okay, sorry.
So what were the circumstances that brought you to the lodge? Because I just remember this British guy showing up, and you just became friends with our whole community. And you stayed.
Yes, it was kind of funny, really. So I was actually doing a road trip. I've done a couple of road trips in the US. I'd done like from Vegas through to LA, and then the next one I did was we started in Dallas. We went to Dallas for a boxing match, and we wanted to drive through to Florida. So we did Houston, Austin, New Orleans. But anyway, when we were in Austin, we actually extended our stay here because we really liked it. Made a few friends, liked the area, and the UK summer finished. I was like, okay, I want to try out a different place. And I was like, I really liked Austin. I know a couple people there now.
What was her name here?
Is this what he's here on the podcast for? He's gonna grill me on this everywhere.
He's going to get you.
Again, I'm gonna say no comment.
Okay.
Maybe when we finish the cocktail, we can.
Your face is a little red. Is it the cocktail? Or,
it's the cocktail,
Or is it the fire hot question?
It's a mixture of the 11 a.m. cocktail. And
Who came with you on that initial trip? We're talking. Who were the homies that came with you?
So on the road trip, it was a bunch of my friends from university. Nobody plays poker.
Right.
And then when I came back here the second time, I knew a couple people out here, but I came back by myself. And I knew the lodge existed. I'd seen the streams and stuff, but
Big fans of Slick and Skull.
of course, who isn't? But it wasn't really my plan to come here and play as much live poker as I have done. And I walked in, Skull gave me a shot on one of the small streams. It was actually quite funny because I messaged Skull and I was like, I saw there's a 50, 100 or 100, 200 at the weekend. Like, is there any chance I can play? And Skull was like, well, we've got a 5-10, we'll try you out in this. And I was waiting on my wire, so I only had like $4,000 or something. And so I joined the 5-10 and I run a bluff with 7 deuce and I bust it instantly. I'm like, this is going to look embarrassing. I asked this guy to play 100, 200. I'm going to lose $4,000 at 5-10. I'm going to quit. And I met Zach Stash on the stream.
Yeah.
Didn't know him at all. And I basically mentioned the fact that, my wire was gone and he lent me money without knowing me, which was...
Wow.
So if you need money, you just contact Stash.
Stash Poker.
You may not have to pay him back.
That's funny.
Yeah, so he actually lent me another $5,000. Very good of him, and I managed to spin that one up. So
Wow.
Yeah. So we survived the 5-10, and then
Yeah, that's usually what I do. If I don't have any intel on a player, if I don't know them personally, they don't have any recommendations from any of our other top players, I like starting them out on the smaller games before getting them to seed in the larger game where they usually have the majority of our views. So standard protocol, but you passed the test.
That is,
you rose the ranks.
You did. So I'm going to ask you a little bit deeper question. Skull alluded to this a little earlier. The basic view of Euro poker players over the years, it's probably not very good. You know, a
It's
lot
terrible,
of tanking.
yeah. It's
And,
terrible, yeah.
But and I've said this on the stream that I think you were over here single-handedly trying to prove everybody that you don't tank a lot. You know,
Yeah.
Euros aren't that way. And talk a little bit about that and how you've had to maybe combat that over the years.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I walk into like a poker scene where, you know, I'm new there or the people don't know me, instantly I can see I sit down at a table and you can kind of read the room and everyone's like, okay, here we go, another Euro Pro. And we have a very bad name, they have a very bad name, and it's definitely deserved.
The Germans, the French?
The Germans, the French, definitely the Italians. The Italians are the worst. If we're gonna call by demographics, if we are gonna group them,
The Italians are the worst.
Italians are the worst. But
That's why we haven't had Pierre on the podcast.
so it's probably for the best. I mean, Pierre would consider himself an American these days.
He is. He's an American citizen.
I've seen his gun collection. He's an American citizen. But yeah, it really is a thing. I don't know. Somewhere over the years, it kind of became cool to just be like stoic and like not emotional, not fun at the poker table, and just be like trying to be like GTO. So they're trying to like tank every decision so you can't get a read. And just 99% of the time, it's completely unnecessary. And what it ends up doing is it does a lot more harm than good, because you know people don't enjoy playing with players like that, and it's not good for the game. It slows everything down, and if people are not enjoying themselves, they're not going to play at the end of the day.
Well, one thing I've noticed about you is you try to make it fun. Whether you're winning or losing, you're involved in the game. You're straddling when the table is straddling. You're keeping the game moving, and you're generally, aside from you being very good and maybe too good that you're taking people's money, you're generally very well received at the table, and people enjoy playing with you.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think it's a major part of. I think every poker player should, you know, try and enjoy themselves, right? It's like whether you do it for a living or not, you know, you should enjoy yourself when you're playing. Like at the end of the day, it's a fun recreational activity, and a lot of people take it for. I understand there's a lot of money at stake, and people want to take the game very seriously, but that doesn't mean you can't enjoy yourself when you do it and try and make the game as fun for everybody else as well.
Absolutely.
So besides having fun and enjoying yourself, which is critical for the entire table, like you just mentioned, you want to win. So what makes a good poker player, the ideal poker player in your mind? What do you need to have? What type of skills and attributes do you need to have in order to beat the game?
So I think obviously you need a fundamental understanding of poker strategy. I think that goes without saying. But on top of that, having the ability to, it's kind of like some aspects of psychology, I suppose, like to put yourself in the other person's shoes. So like when they bet a certain amount or they do a certain thing, it might be how they act at the table, it might be in how they bet, it might be how they played the hand. You have to kind of think why they did that, why they didn't do that, and it will, you know, can potentially help you make a decision on what hand you think they've got, where you think they're bluffing. You know, if they bet a certain amount of money on the river and you think, well, if I was that guy, you know, if I think like this guy does and if I play like this guy seems to be playing and I bet this super large amount, like I probably wouldn't do that with a good hand, or maybe I would only do that with a good hand. So it's kind of the ability to like take yourself out of your own situation and put yourself in somebody else's at the table to try and piece together exactly.
And that's easier to do with more hours logged with an
sure,
opponent. Yeah. So you were playing here for many months on end, so you're able to learn the player pool, and it's a little bit harder when you're at a brand new table. So how would you coach just a brand new dynamic, brand new setting? You've been playing in LA, you've been playing in Vegas. How do you quickly adapt to those things that you're saying?
It is obviously tougher if you don't know the players, but the flip side of that is they also don't know you, right? So, like I like me personally, like I play a style where like I'm quite aggressive. I play a lot of hands. I'll 3-bet a lot, and when players get to know me, they're like, okay, it's Alex. He's full of shit. We'll just call him. We'll raise him again. So for a while, being the unknown player is actually an advantage there, even though you will have less strong reads on your opponents. But if you're coaching somebody just to try and basically make the reads quickly without knowing people, it's tough, right? That's where your fundamental strategy comes in. When you don't know people as well, you can kind of stick to your more fundamental strategy that you're going to play regardless of who you're playing, and then you need to adjust fairly quickly when you pick up more information. If you pick up information that one guy might be a little crazy, one guy might be a little tight, you need to essentially value how strong your read is, how accurate you think it is. If it's based off not many hands, then,
And how's your mental game? We had T1000 here on a previous podcast where he said, he's really started to take his health seriously, and ever since he really started working out and doing the cold plunges and the yoga, he really saw an uptick in his profits. So when you're not playing poker, what are you doing outside the table to keep your mind fresh?
So I do generally live fairly healthily. I think when I'm here and playing a lot of poker, that kind of tails off a bit. I tend to drink quite
and
a bit
some
when I'm
pickleball
playing.
poorly.
Yeah.
He's got a great serve.
Oh, relax.
Yeah, no, I do have a good serve.
Rocket serve.
The problem is if you get the serve back, I'm going to struggle. But I play a lot of sport. Sport's very good for me mentally. I like to go to the gym. I spend a lot of time outdoors. When I'm traveling, for example, like when I'm down in South America, I do a lot of like hiking and this kind of thing.
And you like to go to sporting events. I see you at soccer games all over the
Yes,
world.
yeah,
and,
I do like to go to the major sporting events.
Who's your team? Because I've got a question about soccer in our Jeopardy segment coming up.
Okay, well,
who's your team?
It would be embarrassing not to get that one right on an American podcast, but let's see how I do. So I grew up as a fan of my local club, Doncaster Rovers.
Okay.
Very small team. They get probably typically 6,000 people attendance. As I essentially left England and left Doncaster, I've not been following them as much. They're not on the television or anything.
They get relegated?
They have been promoted and relegated. They've been jumping around. I know that's a foreign concept to Americans, but the relegation aspect
I kinda like it.
It's interesting,
So you played against some of the who's who in the poker world in some high stakes game. Just the other night, I was watching an old video when you and Tesla were going to battle.
Tesla was fantastic.
I think it was like a $200,000 hand that he managed to get through. But who are some of the players that you haven't played with yet that you'd like to play with?
Players that I haven't played with. So I'd love to play with Ivy. Everyone wants to play with Ivy, right? I was actually scheduled to play with him once on a WPT stream.
Oh, nice.
And I was really excited.
How'd you get on that WPT
I
stream?
think a friend might have sorted me out a seat.
That was a good trip.
That was a very good trip, yeah.
Was that the one you won like 300,000?
Yeah, that
Wow.
was.
It's like, Skull, you want a piece? I was like, nah, I'll sit this one out.
Yeah, good decision, buddy. See, he should have a little more faith in me. But yeah, I ran super hot that trip. But Ivy was scheduled to play, and I was disappointed because he cancelled on the day. So I'd love to play with Phil.
That's awesome.
You were also at the table for, I think, my favorite poker hand of all time.
I know which one you're going to say. It's
Yeah.
Perkins getting absolutely amazing hand, yeah.
Have you been a part of a more crazy hand than that in your entire life? Is
No,
that your favorite poker hand of all time?
Yeah,
Just talk to me about that moment.
I think so. That hand was absolutely fantastic. I mean, we watched the whole thing unfold live, and we can see the pain on. It was the hand was versus hands, and we can see the pain on his face. And Bill has left the building. He's literally watching the stream.
He's in chat
to figure out if he's been called for 200,000.
Right.
And it was even when he turned the cards over, it was even funnier because we were watching the thing unfold, and I personally thought it's a pretty strong play. I thought, the guy's gone all in, he's left the room. I mean, come on, who is crazy enough to run that as a bluff? But the answer is Bill Perkins. That was absolutely brilliant.
It still is.
I don't know, if you think about it, it kind of makes sense that it's a bluff. He doesn't have to stay. He doesn't have to rack his chip.
That's true.
He doesn't have to put him away in the box, wire anything back. He gets called, and then the money's hands.
That's true. And also, he doesn't have to face the guy staring him down for 10
exactly.
minutes. Right? So he's like,
you can't get a read on that
The
guy.
funniest part of that hand was Hans was sitting there. Everyone else was talking and laughing and joking, and Hans is just in the blender. And somebody said something like, I think Jake said, wouldn't it be funny if Hans was slow rolling quads here, because there was a board fair, and then Hans started to laugh at that one. But it was an amazing moment, and
it was hilarious. And when the cards got turned over and he was bluffing,
yes.
And obviously hands had folded. Like, you kind of feel for the guy because he's just lost $100,000 or whatever. But we were all just in fits of hysterics. Like, it was absolutely brilliant.
One of the memories. So Are you ready for some Jeopardy?
Let's do it.
All right, so you're going to get 5 points for each correct answer. At the end, we're going to ask you one final question where you can wager all your points and try to go for it in double Jeopardy. Here we go.
Has anybody not wagered the points?
No.
It's a gambler's podcast.
It's
so,
a gambler's
of
podcast.
course, yeah.
Here we go. Okay. What is the nickname for people from Leeds, England? What are they called? What are Leeds
I don't know.
people called? I got this off the internet, so I hope I'm right.
Yeah, I mean, so like from most major cities there are a nickname, but Leeds. I'm going to say Yorkies, but I don't think it's right.
What is a loiner? Loiner?
Where are you getting these
Loiner?
questions?
Hey, I do research, Scott. Other than
wait,
you,
This guy's
Okay,
looking at you like you got 12 heads. A loiner?
a loiner.
Did we chat GPT this? Or
No,
I feel like the AI.
This
should
is
have
what
to
people
confirm
call
that.
each other in Leeds?
All right.
It's this news to me.
All right, so
it's possible.
see, Skull just rolls up and starts talking. I actually do research, but here we go.
What type of research?
Here's the second question.
You're getting trolled with these questions.
You are more of a cash player. We've already discussed that. You don't like tournaments. It's not your game.
Yeah, that's correct.
But you do have a Hendon Mob earnings list.
Yeah.
Okay. Within $10,000,
God, I know
what
what you're
is
gonna
your
ask me
Hendon Mob as of this morning?
God, I have no idea.
You really don't.
I've not cashed a tournament for about 10 years, so I'm gonna say
Minus the 10,000 that you won, or the couple £1,000 you won from when you were 16 at the bar. With the guy who took you.
That one's not included. I'm gonna say 290,000.
The answer is 364,000. You've actually
Okay.
won more than you've thought.
There you go.
There
So
might
you
be
don't-
another Alex Spencer out there like getting credit.
Actually, that did happen for a while.
Yeah, it
There is a
happens a lot.
second Alex Spencer, and I looked at my Hendon Mob, but the guy he plays like the smallest tournaments, like £10 and £15 rebinds.
Was it embarrassing for you? You said take him off?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, because I'd not played a tournament for like 4 years after my
Yeah.
125k cash, and all of a sudden I pop up playing £10 rebuys and cashing for £30, and
boss, though.
people are like, he's gone broke. So I messaged them and they sorted it out.
All right, here's something you should get, okay? It's often said that one of the biggest shocks in World Cup history was when the U.S. beat England 1-0.
1-0.
1-0. What year was that historic game played?
Oh dear.
Had you ever heard of this game, that the U.S. actually beat England?
I-
They've
I-
only
I-
played
I-
3
I-
times.
He's born in
haven't.
1993, Rick.
Yeah, this is tough.
I'll give you choices.
Okay.
Was it 1946, 1950, or 1954?
Oh, okay. I mean, I was going to go way later than that. I was hoping you didn't know it was every 4 years and there was only going to be one of a 4-year multiple, but
See?
there isn't.
I got that.
That was impressive, by the way.
I'm
That
going
was
to say
good.
1950.
You got it.
Yeah, there
you
we
got
go.
your first
See,
answer.
excellent.
1-0. The U.S. kicked England's ass.
And who scored?
I don't know.
Was it Dempsey?
I have no clue.
I'm going
Senior?
to guess it would be Dempsey Senior. It could be.
So you got 5 points. Here we go. A couple more questions. What are the 4 countries that make up the United Kingdom?
So that would be Scotland, England, Wales, and Ireland.
There you go.
Yeah,
Would it be correct to say Northern Ireland or just Ireland?
Northern Ireland.
All right, Northern Ireland. There we go. So you got 10 points. Here we go. Another question. New England is a region in the United States. Have you ever heard of New England?
I've heard of it. I couldn't tell you where it is. But
Okay. I'm going to give you.
that's
there's
trouble. That's trouble for this question.
6
Oh, really?
states
Okay.
that make up New England. I'm going to ask you which one of these states is not part of New England, okay?
Okay.
New Hampshire, Connecticut, or New York? Which state is not part of New England?
I'm going to say New York.
You got it.
Oh, there you go.
You got it. So you got 15 points to risk.
I don't know.
How many
maybe
are you
call
gonna...
it 12 and a half.
12
You
and a
gave
half.
him multiple choice on the
12
soccer
12 and a half,
question.
so
I
that-
was feeling
12 and a
bad
half's
for
fine.
him.
I'm going to Jeopardy it, so 12 and a half's fine, because it'll still take me to 25, right? Which would...
We're going to give you 15 points to
Okay,
wager.
sure.
You want all of them?
Of course, yeah.
All right. For Final Jeopardy.
Okay.
Okay. You ever seen the movie Rounders?
Yes.
All right. In the movie Rounders, when Mike McDermott lost his stack at the beginning of the movie, what were the tabled hands from both Teddy KGB and Mike
he
McDermott?
told you he's been watching some of our previous episodes. He said that when he came in today, right? He's like, I've been watching some of the previous podcasts.
But this was a different question.
With Swan, with T went. I don't know. I've heard this question a few times, Rick.
No.
I've only seen the initial episode, and I haven't heard this question.
So what were the turned over cards from Teddy KGB and Mike McDermott in the hand
I
at
don't,
the beginning of the movie?
I don't think I can wager a guess, to be honest.
15 points to 0.
Yeah, this is a sad state of affairs.
Few seconds.
I'm gonna have to pass
Teddy
it.
KGB had the pocket aces. Mike McDermott had ace 9 on a flop 9-9 ace.
Okay, that does ring a bell. Yeah.
There you go. Well,
0 points.
0 points, and we come to an end. Hey, I want to say thank you to Odds Bar and Bistro for providing amazing setting and cocktails, guys.
Did you even have a sip
Bulldog.
of that cocktail?
I'm going to.
There you go.
I mean, look at your beer.
Hey.
Bulldog, you're a great friend.
Cheers.
Thank you for being part
Cheers.
of Cards and Cocktails.
Thank you.
We'll be back with another episode in a couple weeks.
What do you got to do? What do you got to remind the fans?
Please,
to do?
everybody, like and subscribe. We need the help. We want to get this up and running. We're going to bring you great guests like Alex here, the British Bulldog, every couple weeks. Like and subscribe. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.